Well, welcome to a Super Bowl preview edition of the Cochrane Show. My name is John Cochrane, and that is my friend Dan Coates, who is a huge Boston sports fan. As you can see, I'm into the Seahawks. Dan joined the Australian bandwagon long time ago on Boston sports.
Hi, John.
How you doing,
look,
Dan?
it was a long time ago. I could be specific, but it was before Brady. It was before Paul Pierce even. It was a long time ago, mate.
Larry Bird?
No, a little bit after Larry Bird. But
So
no,
when did you
I've been a
start,
Boston
Dan?
fan for ages.
What got you to Boston? Because it's not like, I'm not crazy. Australians love Boston sports.
Yeah, look, I think part of it is it is that romantic Celtic nature of Boston as a city. I'm very pasty white, so you can tell
You
there's
just
probably
fit right in.
bit of ancestry in there. But no, I found the Celtics playing like an old NBA courtside game. My dad has been a Patriots fan. He's Aussie, but he's been a Patriots fan since like the 80s, and
Okay.
so I chose the Celtics and then thought, you know what, let's just go all in on Boston. And that's been really fun for you and I.
It has been because teams are, I'm a Warriors fan, Warriors and Celtics 2022 NBA Finals. That was great. Even going back, Seattle, New England to 2015 Super Bowl. I think it was 2015, might have been
I want
16.
to take it back even further to 2011 Stanley Cup, Canucks and Bruins.
Don't go there.
Week that I met John Cochrane was the Stanley Cup, and the Bruins triumphed.
It would have been. That was, oh my gosh, yeah, Vancouver Canucks. So they're my sporting teams are Seattle Seahawks NFL, Golden State Warriors, NBA. Because I should be Toronto because we the North, but Chris Bosh, Andrea Bargnani, those players killed the romance with the Toronto Raptors. And then obviously the Vancouver Canucks being from sort of the Pacific Northwest area. And that Stanley Cup, that's the last time the Canucks were good, really, was 2011. The town rioted, burnt the town down.
Yep.
And Brad Marchand, he's a Canadian player, but I could not stand him in that series. But yeah, you're right. That's the week that we met would have been during the finals, June 2011.
Yep, that's it. And ever since then, our teams have just been like this. So we have never seen eye to eye, at least in our who we follow.
That's right. And we're going to get into the Super Bowl, but Boston has had the most ridiculous plethora of riches when it comes to sports in my lifetime. Out of any city, it's been Boston, right? You had the Boston Red Sox who had the David Ortiz sort of dominant years of baseball. They've got a lot of money as well. You had the dynasty of the New England Patriots. The Boston Bruins have not been bad since I've been watching hockey. And the Boston Celtics, you go all the way back to Bill Russell.
Yeah.
They really haven't had too many irrelevant years. They had those times of Isaiah Thomas where, they were maybe a first round playoff exit team, but they're just ridiculous when it comes to sports.
No, absolutely. And the fans, we'll get into fans and Seahawks fans a little later, but Boston fans, they are just they're so passionate. They're behind their team. They're pretty slow to start tearing them down. They're not like the Philly fans who will immediately jump on one little aside from a player, but they're with the team, and I love them.
But they're spoiled. They're spoiled because let me tell you why. Just in NBA again, you had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and fans until they won the championship were saying, oh, I don't know if these guys can play together. They're making the conference championships, and if it's not a title, it's a bust for Boston sports.
Look, we're pretty blessed, I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, the worst sports teams, Dan, in Boston in my lifetime was probably last year's Patriots team, which is ridiculous thinking that the Patriots are in the Super Bowl this year.
It is ridiculous. And I think I agree. Like, there might have been sometimes for the Celtics pretty early when I was following them, early 2000s. Paul Pierce was pretty young and they didn't really get too far. But you're right. I think the Patriots slump had a lot of the football fans in New England and everywhere that they've followed really keen to see them turn things around. But none of us expected it to be quite this quick.
No, not at all. Like, this has to be I wonder if there's ever been an NFL team to go from being, one of the worst teams in the NFL to making the Super Bowl the next year. Like 4 and what were they? 4-13? Is that the right math?
I think 4-13.
To making the Super Bowl the next year. Like, Mike Vrabel is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
The team hasn't changed. Drake May has another year under his belt, but not much has changed on the team. They got Diggs in the offseason.
They brought in quite a few. They went hard at free agency. I was going to get into it a bit later, but I think that was part of where their success has been some of the free agency moves they made. They went pretty strong on that.
On the defensive end?
They went kind of all across the board because they brought in Diggs, but they brought in Williams. They brought in Davis and Hawkins and quite a few on the defensive end, but they brought in Morgan Moses as well, and a tackle, and they've gone pretty hard across the board with free agents. Not a lot of trades, but a lot of draft and free agency. Yeah.
But also culture. I think Vrabel has just created an unbelievable culture and belief in New England. And for me, it highlights a couple things. Number one, Tennessee has got to be the worst run organization in the NFL. Why I know coaches' voices can get fall on deaf ears after a while. That happened with Pete Carroll in Seattle. Mm-hmm. But Tennessee's been irrelevant since letting go of Vrabel. And then last year, obviously he was available for to go on a team. Mm-hmm. Nobody tried to, the Jets could have had Vrabel, and these other sort of poor run franchises also could have had him. So be blessed as a Patriots fan.
Yeah, I mean, are the Titans looking to move? I mean, I'd be looking to if I was Tennessee, I'd be like, can we get rid of these guys? Can we get a different franchise in?
Get rid of the whole franchise in general?
Yeah, just start fresh, bring a new one in.
Here's what I think would happen.
The Browns, I don't know.
Browns could have had Vrabel. Here's what I think the NFL should do. If you are sub 500 5 years in a row, the owner should have to sell the team. What do you think?
Call. That's huge.
You can't have relegation. So let's just have force sales of teams.
But who's going to then front up that? Because that's a lot of money for an NFL team. A lot of money to get behind a team and potentially lose a stack of money as well. And I know there's, how many NFL teams, 32 teams or whatever. And there's a lot of billionaires out there that would be interested. But I reckon that devalues your product a little bit when you're forcing.
But think about it, Dan.
Sale.
You are purchasing the team at an all-time low if they've been sub 500 5 years in a row, right? It's not like you're buying the Boston Celtics in the middle or the Seattle Seahawks. Next year, they're going to be up for sale. They're going to go for a lot of money because they're a good team. So if you can turn it around, it's a huge return on your investment.
Could be. It could also be another 5 years of under 500, and you make even.
That's true. You might sell for less. But speaking of the Patriots and the Super Bowl this year, I have a take about the New England Patriots season of after sort of blowing smoke up the butt of all Patriots fans. Here's what I really think.
Here we go.
I've never seen a Super Bowl team make it to the Super Bowl having played no competition all season long. How easy can a schedule be? Like, and when they do play someone tough, they win or they lose or they win by like a fluke field goal or whatever. Like they've had the easiest schedule I can remember making, even playing a backup quarterback in the conference championship game.
Look, I was wondering whether this one was going to be point A, B, or C for you. I did anticipate
A, B, and C, by the way.
A, B, and C. Very good. But look, I think you can only play what's in front of you. And I think that turnaround, if they had played tough teams and even managed 10 wins, we'd be still talking about Mike Vrabel being one of the best coaches in the NFL. So I think the fact that they got across a few of the big rivalry teams that they have, the Bills win early in the season, I think was a big one for them. And then look, the defenses that they've played against in the playoffs run last week against the Broncos, that was a tough, scrappy game. And finals, look, they're not just about the other team and the whole game. They're about little moments. And I think they showed a lot to capture some of the moments that they needed to win to, win that game and to get to the Super Bowl. And look, I think if we're going to, you'd be hard pressed to argue that every time Tom Brady won a ring, that his Patriots were the best team and had the best run.
No, they had the easiest flipping division in NFL in pro sports.
So let's sell all the other franchises and see how it goes then, John. Sell the Dolphins and the Jets. Get them out of there. Let's see.
Dolphins, Jets, Bills. Like until Josh Allen, Bills were a joke.
Oh, they were.
Dolphins have been a joke. Jets, they shouldn't even be a franchise. Like just one team in New York is enough.
Oh, look, I had a look at this, and you can't argue too much that the regular season was not pretty straightforward for them in terms of their opponents. But you can understand where it comes from an NFL-like side of things with scheduling. These guys stunk last year. You're not going to give them all the big matches for the big, those big primetime spots. So I think next year it'll be a bit of a different story. But at the same time, like it's the way that the things conferenced and divisioned out often has ended with one side of things looking a little bit easier than the other.
Can I give you a conspiracy theory? Let me turn my hat around for a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Here we go. Robert Kraft sold his soul for an easy schedule. Here's what I mean. He calls Goodell, "Hey, Goodell, I know we're not real happy with Belichick and, I'm going to be nominated. I can be nominated for the Hall of Fame and so can Bill. We will forego our Hall of Fame. Just give us this easy schedule. Come on, Roger." And Roger was like, done. That is how they got the schedule. It makes sense.
Look, Bill Belichick, knowing there'd be no way he would have come up to Robert Kraft's, office, mansion, whatever he lives in, just stormed into there. Like, Bill Belichick he's got a bit of an ego.
Yeah.
I know he's playing it down. But I think he wouldn't have let that slide. There would have been no way.
Well, I don't think Bill would. I think his girlfriend would storm in there. If she knows, yeah.
She could.
We don't want to go in that direction, but.
Oh, dear.
I actually do think that Bill Belichick's last 5 years of football, NFL and college and broadcasting played into him not being a first ballot Hall of Fame. I just think his reputation got tarnished and people have recency bias.
They do have recency bias, but I think it's still a travesty that he's not in there. If you look at
it's absolutely ridiculous.
The biggest, I think most people should consider the Hall of Fame a bit of a joke.
Yeah. No coach from here on out should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Nah.
Unless they win 7 Super Bowls or 6 Super Bowls. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So, Dan, how are you feeling about the Super Bowl this year?
Look, I come into it feeling very pleased already. As a Patriots fan, I'm so happy with the season. I'm looking at a team that is young, that is fun to watch, a coach that's like really invested, and he's a great coach. He's a great leader and makes it really entertaining, just himself as well. So look, we've already won as Patriots fans in a lot of ways when you come off of last year. But look, I'm coming into this one with hope, with a lot of, I think, a lot of love for my team. And look, I think they're every chance. They're slight underdogs coming in, not massive, but neither of these teams have, you know, stacked lineups of proven Super Bowl winners and players that have those massive moments that they've already notched into their belt. There's a lot of players that are untested. The two quarterbacks are untested at this stage. A lot of the key players that you're trusting not to make a mistake that could really hurt, they haven't done this before. So I think there's every chance that as the big moment kicks in, that we'll see some rise and maybe some that do slip up and lead to what was it, Super Bowl 2015 sort of a moment and throw the football on the 1 yard line.
We are going to see so many. I already see so many flashbacks to that game. And the broadcast, I think it's Fox, so it's Tom Brady. They're going to talk about that so much. Like, it's just going to be repeated, but they're two completely different teams.
Yeah.
Both have different coaches. What do you think about Drake May? I'd love to hear as a Patriots fan.
Yeah, look, at the start of the season, you and I think we talked about Drake May towards the beginning of the season. And I think I shared optimism, but a healthy dose of doubt.
Yeah.
Because quarterbacks are, they're such a flip of the coin. For every star that you get through in the top 5 picks, you get, someone whose body breaks down or their mind's elsewhere. And I think what we've got in Drake May, someone whose body's held up pretty well, even though he's a bit reckless with it. Like, his head is well and truly on his shoulders. He seems pretty stable in the, off the field sort of stuff as well. So I think, like, in what you're looking for a foundation for a good quarterback is there. And then he's got the flair, he's got the fun, he's got, I guess, the eye for the team's, the routes that they're running and the schemes that they're trying to play on offense. So I think I love him. I think he's great. There's still plenty for him to prove, but I think he has shown that he can make huge plays. And I think he's probably felt a lot of pressure as well the last couple of weeks. The fumbles of these last couple of weeks have been huge, and we don't need those. But he's also then stood up in some big moments, had some big runs to hold off the Broncos in that AFC Championship. So I think we love him. We're right behind him. I'll be chanting MVP at the TV. But look, there's a long road for him to. We had the GOAT. So there's a long way for him to reach that level. But we're excited.
Oh, 100%. And that's not the expectation with him. I would be a bit worried just because Seattle, like I think back to last Super Bowl between Philadelphia and Kansas City. And the reason why Philadelphia dominated that game was they could get pressure on Patrick Mahomes rushing 4 and just drop everyone else into coverage. They didn't have to blitz, and Mahomes was running around like a headless chicken. And that is the Seahawks' strength this year, that they have such a dominant front 4, that they rarely have to send pressure to get to the quarterback. And unless you're like Matthew Stafford, who he was protected like crazy in the conference championship, and he could read the defense. Like he is got the experience to stay cool under pressure and know where the pressure's coming from and make the correct throw. I'm not sure Drake May is quite, and he shouldn't be. He's a second-year quarterback. But can you handle the pressure with a 4-man rush, with having everybody else disguise coverage, not knowing if it's man, not knowing if it's zone? Maybe it's a cover 2 with 2 high safeties and man underneath. That will be the test. Can Drake May stay cool under pressure when you're getting rushed by 4 without seeing a clear open target?
Yeah, look, I think that is the big question for, for Drake. But I think Seattle's defense still have a couple of questions to answer in my mind too, that Drake and the Patriots can exploit. I think the one game where they faced a quarterback who could move like May was against Jaden Daniels. He had a decent running game, but they've not really faced too many mobile QBs that can escape the pressure in that sort of fashion and that have done that. And like I think that there's an element where that can really keep some of that disguised coverage a little bit double-minded in which
Yeah.
way they do things.
They're going to have to spy him, and the defensive front is going to have to be disciplined, right? The edges, the ends. I think Drake May doesn't like to step up. He likes to bounce out.
Yes.
So if the ends on the defensive line aren't so worried about getting the sack, but they're worried about containing him, so the inside guys can get the pressure so that when he does bounce, then they can tackle him out in the outfield. But I think it'd probably be the linebacker spying Drake May will be licking his chops because, like you said, he struggles to hold on to the ball in the open field. Like it's a loose carry. And so I think the Seahawks they're either the number one scoring defense or the number one turnover defense. Can they force a few fumbles in a big game? Because the adrenaline's going to take over.
Oh, yeah.
Your emotions are going to overcome your brain. And even though you should slide, he's going to go for that extra couple yards to try and get a first down or to make a big play. And that's just reality. Like, that's nothing against Drake May. I think he's a good quarterback. Yeah. Obviously, there's been comparisons to him and Josh Allen. I don't know if he's closer to Josh Allen or Justin Herbert in terms of ceiling. Both are good NFL quarterbacks, but Josh Allen is a very high
Allen yet. He doesn't have Allen's a bigger body, and he doesn't have that yet.
No, but Allen, he's more accurate than Allen was out of college. Allen was not a very accurate quarterback to start with, so that's a positive.
Yeah, no, I think you've summed it up pretty well there. Where there are some small opportunities against the Seahawks defense, they have to be used really wisely. You can't just come out to run Drake May all the time and run a bunch of, run pass options for him. You've got to, it's the times I've seen it used most effectively when it has been third down, they've got a lot of yards to get, and he's able to take 15 yards when they need 9 and they're halfway down the field, and he's able to turn something that looked pretty ugly into something that keeps the offense moving. But I think if we were to see him get 70, 80 yards, have to take a bunch of carries, like that's not what you want, but you want to see a couple of really big ones to keep the defense on their toes.
And on the other side of the ball, Dan, for Seattle on offense and Patriots on defense, do you have any concerns for the Patriots containing this pretty multifaceted Seahawks offense?
I don't think. Look, there's concerns because they're fantastic players, and Smith and Jigba is just a freak. And look, you've still got the experience and a Super Bowl MVP of Cooper Kupp. Like, you've got it's a pretty stacked offense. Their run is, I don't think there's too many better two punches than Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Is
Charbonnet back this game or is he out?
Who's that?
Charbonnet, he got hurt in like the divisional round. I don't know if he's back playing or if he's done for the year. But you're right. Like, even if Charbonnet isn't in, and if you could look that up while I'm talking, Kenneth Walker, he's a beast, and he can carry the load 3 downs. And I don't know if you remember the Seahawks team in 2015 and when it was 2014 against the Broncos. Who was the kick returner? The fast guy. Do you remember what his name was? He kicked he returned. Yeah, Seahawks. He returned the second half kickoff for a touchdown. He didn't really play all year because they had him. Anyhow, Rashid Shaheed is sort of like that guy. I think he's a huge X factor. I could see some trickery with some jet sweeps happening, and just to keep, especially if Charbonnet doesn't play, having these other ways of getting the ground game going with other players, even if that's JSN or Rashid Shaheed. I could see that just keeping the defense honest, right? Because it's no secret that Sam Darnold and this offense thrives off play action.
Yep.
That's how he was successful in Minnesota. Play action pass. You got to get the run game going, and Seattle's run game is pretty dominant. That offensive line doesn't get enough credit. Like, they're one of the best in the league. If you're getting, people always think it's the running back. Like, it's no secret that Barkley on Philly had a worse year this year. That's not just because he got worse. Like, the offensive line got worse, and that's going to have a huge impact. So if Patriots want to have a chance at slowing down this offense, they're going to have to stop the run. Like, it's so simple, and it's so, what's the word? Just stereotype or basic. But stop the run, because if you can stop the run, you don't fall for the play action pass.
Yeah, that's it. Look, I think they've got the capacity to do that. I think they were the fifth or sixth best defense in terms of the yards given per game to runners. So I think they have a really good defensive front. And I think if they can apply even a little bit of pressure, if they can minimize Walker's ability even like a little bit, they have the potential to cause quite a few headaches for Darnold's passing. I know he's had some really, he's got deep threats and they've had some really big plays, but I know he's not always the cleanest and making the best decisions with his throws. And I've seen the last couple of weeks, the defensive backs for New England have just been chomping at the bit, waiting for that pass that's a little bit on the back shoulder to come and cut across and take out that ball. So I think the turnover game is probably a little different, but they'll be looking to cause their own turnovers. And I think there's definitely possibility there. And if any Jets fans are watching, they'll know what Sam Darnold can do with the ball and a good interception. So look, I think there's some possibilities there that I'm hoping for the defense as well as for the offense.
The New York Jets just ruin players. It's not that the players were bad on the good team. It's the players are good on a horribly run franchise.
I can't argue with that. I cannot.
Yeah, I mean,
the evidence.
He was good.
I mean,
he's lost 5 regular season games in the last 2 years, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's gone great.
I know.
He's been fantastic.
Yeah, the whole I'm seeing ghost fiasco. I don't know if you remember that when he was in New York, NFL Films caught him say I'm seeing ghosts, and that really put a tarnish on his career. And then, I mean, let's just talk about his career so far. He was in New York. That didn't go too well.
Yeah.
He went from New York to Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, with Baker Mayfield. And then from, again, another not so well run franchise at that time. And then he was the backup in San Francisco, which he got some playing time and did pretty good under Kyle Shanahan. And then he went to Minnesota and had a fantastic career.
Yeah.
And think about this. Sorry, you go.
No, I mean, that was almost akin to, the Titans and Vrabel. Like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
100%. I mean, that's the GM saying, we got this rookie last year. He got hurt, but it's his time. Like, I think that's an ego move. And just look at Jefferson last year compared to this year.
Yeah.
Last year, he was considered the best receiver in the NFL. This year, again, a receiver of Sam Darnold's is considered a top 2 receiver in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, like, the common denominator there is Sam Darnold.
Oh, look, for sure. I think he could have a blinder. He could throw for 5 touchdowns he could also add
Yeah,
3 or 4 interceptions.
true. Well, I would guarantee one. Like Darnold is going to throw an interception, and it's going to be a panic into a tight window, and it won't go for 6, but it will be one of those moments of like, Sam Darnold, what are you doing? Just take the sack.
Mm.
So, Dan, who is your X factor? Like for the Patriots, what one player, and let's exclude quarterbacks because
Okay.
obviously they're the most important position. Who's your X factor for the Patriots?
Look, I think one of the players I have loved, and he's probably got the capacity. It's a boom or bust for him, but Mac Hollins, he's come
Okay.
across from the Bills, and he's tormented their fans because he's had a good year for us, and we've come out on top in the division, in the conference, in the Super Bowl. But I think his ability to play and keep the deep threat really relevant is a really big thing, to make that field big and kind of force some of those defensive backs for Seattle to remain honest in their coverage. And if they're zoning off, that, not too much leeway is given. But I think he's a really big X factor. And then I just think the special teams as a unit as well, there's the potential for them to, I think New England special teams units have always had the capacity to score points. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of trick play or some sort of kickoff drama that they took something for some points.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the Patriots special teams, they've been solid this year.
I think, they have been really solid. Especially, they've been really, really clean at protecting
mistake
the
free.
kickers. Sorry?
Mistake free.
Yeah, they've been mistake free, and then just the ability to punish, another special teams is just switching off or maybe missing some of their assignments and getting some good blocks in. So I think they have the ability to score points, which would be really, really helpful if Seattle's defense is locked in.
Which they will be. Come on. I think the X factor for the Seahawks, in my opinion, is Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
I can see since the playoffs have started and even like the final game of the regular season, he's been getting more involved in the offense.
Yeah.
You can see Sam Darnold looking for him because Smith and Digna is going to get double teamed or, he's going to have a lot of attention. And Cooper Kupp will just have these, 10-yard out routes or a hook and just sort of sit in the soft part of the defense. And him and Darnold seem to be on the same page a lot of the time. And it's just, he's reliable, right? In a pressure situation, you look for Cooper Kupp. He's going to have sure hands, but also know where that first down marker is and get it. Like, I think there's something to be said to keep your cool and to keep your poise and to keep your whereabouts in a high pressure game. And he's proven to do that, right? Like you said, Super Bowl MVP a few years ago. So Cooper Kupp is the X factor for the Seattle Seahawks, I think.
No, I agree. Look, there was a point I even have him top 3 or 4 for the Seahawks in that MVP. Like, just the potential for that experience, that know-how, especially if it turns into a gritty game and you're relying on just a handful of plays. Like, they're the sort of players that you really want to have on your lineup.
All right, Dan, what is your final score prediction of Super Bowl 2026?
My final score is that we're going to see 25-22 Patriots running out as winners. I think it's going to be a really tight one. We've seen a couple of one-sided games. You mentioned the dominance of Philly. The Chiefs have had some really one-sided wins. And I think this is going to be the opposite. I think we'll see some ebbs and flows. We'll see a few, maybe some mistakes from both sides with, untested players at this sort of moment. But 25-22, Patriots, come on.
All right. Well, I have these feelings that this is going to be not a close Super Bowl. And this is not just me speaking as a Seahawks fan. I just I mean, like I said at the start, I don't think the Patriots have played too much of tough competition. I think the Seahawks are in the toughest division in the NFL, and they won the division. Not only won the division, won the conference. And so I think they have played more tough competition. Now, obviously, San Francisco, people are going to comment like they had all these injuries. Yes, I get that. But I think Seattle is going to win 30-10.
Ouch.
Yeah.
We'll
And
see. We'll see.
I've got this feeling. My spidey senses are tingling.
We'll see about your spidey senses. I think
So you said 25-22.
25-22.
That's what does it take to get to 22, by the way? Can we do the math there?
Look, I think there's potential for a missed kick.
Yeah, missed extra point.
Missed extra point. You can make, there's the 2-point conversions. Often, they're factored in these crunch moments. Like there's a bit of wiggle room there for some weird
I know,
stuff.
but I'm just saying, like those two scores specifically, like those two numbers aren't typical NFL scores.
No.
But hey, if you get that, I will buy you a beer. I will get you. Yeah, we'll go for drinks. My shout if it's 25. If one of the teams have any of those scores, 25 or 22, I still can't work out in my head how we're getting there. Because obviously 3 touchdowns would be 21. 3 touchdowns and converts would be 21. 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals would be 20. So you're almost thinking a safety.
Maybe thinking a safety, maybe thinking some missed conversions after a touchdown, maybe some 2-point conversions.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fascinating. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so flabbergasted with that score.
And I could be way off on the score, but it could be, I think it'll be close and it'll be in the 20s.
Yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate your out of the box. I might be crazy, but I cannot.
Nope.
That's wild. That's wild. Dan, is it all right if we talk a little bit of NBA?
Oh, mate, I think we can manage that. Yeah.
All right. Because the trade deadline is in 2 days and things are going off. Yeah. And I was surprised to see what Boston Celtics did today, trading for Vucevic, getting rid of Anthony Simons. I can see this as maybe Tatum's coming back. They got to free up some of the guard. I know Tatum's not a guard, but some of the ball handling responsibilities. Get another stretch 5 in there to play that Porzingis role that he used to play. Get a rebounder. The more I think about it, I think it's a solid pickup for the Celtics.
Yeah, I thought it was weird because the fans have loved Anthony Simons. They've loved watching him, and he's a bit of a fun player to watch. And I think Vucevic is less of that kind of entertainment factor, but I think Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis have been huge players for the Celtics at times. Like they've had big games that have helped them to win, especially Al Horford, I think. And having neither of those guys around, and then looking at the where the team is at, that was a little bit unexpected. I think this is it's a good short-term sort of a trade. And I think with Boston, we mentioned it at the top that they're a bit of a destination for players. I think if it doesn't work out, they'll just move him on and keep trading. But I think, for a team that finds themselves with a much better record than they expected, I expected, anyone expected, and Brown just having an unbelievable season, even without Tatum, they've got a chance to do some damage.
This might be recency bias, but I'm not so sure Tatum, when healthy, is 1A. I think Tatum's a 1B. I think Jaylen Brown is so good and just
Mm,
has this mentality that Tatum might not have. I know,
yeah.
okay, so obviously we haven't seen Tatum play, but he would get very passive, almost
Mm,
unwilling to drive it and just do that sidestep, step back three,
yeah.
like over and over and over again. And Jaylen Brown will just attack, attack, attack. He'll score at the rim. He'll take the mid range shot, and then he can knock down a three in the clutch as well. So I've been
Yeah.
so impressed by Brown.
Yeah. I think certainly in terms of like the mentality, I would choose Brown any day over Tatum. I think the skill side of things is a little bit different. But you're right. Like in the pressure moments we've seen in finals, Tatum, turn the ball over a little bit and just get a little bit predictable. He can be a little easy to guard, whereas Brown is just aggression and creativity. And, he just puts it all out on the court. And I think we've loved seeing him play that number one role. It'll be really interesting to see how the dynamic looks when Tatum comes back, if that's this season or if we're waiting
Yeah.
until the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Is Tatum going to come back? I'd be worried. It's probably not worth it. You're probably not beating OKC this year or Spurs.
Yeah.
Um, and you just would hate to see
Oh,
like a
absolutely.
Klay Thompson type back-to-back injury.
He's still got, plenty of his career in front of him. And look, as far as the franchise is concerned, I'm sure that they're hoping that the rest of that is in Boston. But yeah, it would be a big
Yeah.
risk. And with a team that they've got the capacity to keep a lot of the key parts together into next season. If it was
Yeah.
a matter of having a crack at the NBA finals, maybe, but I don't know.
I mean, the East, anything's possible in the East. I think they could make it out of the East with this team.
They could.
I can't think of any like Detroit. Detroit's what's standing in their way, but they're young, inexperienced. I could
Yeah.
see Boston making it out of the East still this year, even though they don't have Tatum. Do you think
Look, I think
Boston knew something about Porzingis last year, and which is why they got rid of him?
maybe. I
They
think
need to
there's plenty.
investigate this.
Yeah, there's plenty of us that have never been convinced about him as a player, but yeah, I'm not sure what sort of awareness they had.
With illness, like Porzingis, I don't think he's had an injury. Yeah, it's not an injury. He just keeps
Yeah.
it's POTS, which has to do with your nervous system. But because right last year in the playoffs and in the season, he didn't play very much, or was that the
Mm.
championship? Yeah, last year he hardly played, and then they trade him, and I thought it was just a salary dump, but I wonder what's the future for him. Like, is his career coming to an end? Is he going to retire? I don't know.
I mean, you are looking at a guy who is he's a big dude. He's 7'3", and from what I understand, there's like a heart element to it. And if you're talking about a large person like that with some sort of heart troubles in professional sport, man, you've got to be thinking about more than just your career. If
Well,
I'm
he's made enough money, right?
exactly, yeah. Look, as long as it's not like a Ben Simmons sort of a thing, where you wonder how much is his body and how much is other stuff going on. But
Oh, it's
look,
clear that Ben Simmons just doesn't like basketball. He likes what
no,
basketball does for him.
yeah. So I think as long as we can say that's not what it is with Porzingis, we'll be feeling more sorry for him than anything else.
All right, one more trade that I want to talk about, and then before we go, I just want to talk about the All-Star World versus USA teams, and
Mm,
because I think that's if they play, it's fascinating.
mm.
But the trade I want to talk about really quick is James Harden for Garland. I cannot believe Cleveland did this trade. It made zero sense in the world. It's like Cleveland's thinking, all right, we had a 60-win season, but we just couldn't quite succeed in the playoffs. What should we do? Let's get James Harden. Oh, wait, no, James Harden does not perform in the playoffs. He shrinks in the playoffs. He is famously known for letting down in the playoffs. What are they thinking?
Oh, look, have we talked about Cleveland maybe not thinking as an organization before? I feel like maybe once or twice we have, but I can't get behind this one at all. I've never been a Harden fan. Again, it's like, is his mind all in? Is his body all in? Like, nah.
His body's all in at the strip club.
And then at the burgers or kebabs afterwards as well.
Yeah,
but right. I can't argue with that too much.
But you've got Garland, who's still a young player, who, when healthy, which hasn't been often, is like a top 10 point guard in the NBA. And then you've got James Harden, who's making so much money, who's going to want more money. Yeah. And he's coming towards the end of his career. Makes zero sense. 1-for-1, no draft picks.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make sense when you think about it very much, but maybe Cleveland are just thinking really short-sighted. They're looking at the upheaval to the top 4 in the East and going, maybe there's a window. Maybe Harden will finally pull his finger out and he'll play some good basketball, but that is a gamble.
Can we just go through the history really quick? So James Harden was a 6th man in OKC.
Yes.
Fantastic. Didn't really put up a fuss, but he ended up getting traded because they didn't want to pay an extra $1 million for him with Ibaka. So that was ridiculous. He goes to Houston. I'll never forget the game against the Warriors where he goes like 0 for 11 from 3. Disappears in the finals or in the conference final. He quits on the team mid-game and says, I don't want Chris Paul anymore. I want Russell Westbrook. That relationship doesn't work out. So he gets traded from Houston to Philadelphia. He then says at a camp in Japan, I think, or China, that Daryl Morey is a liar. I'm never going to play for him again. In front of children, he says this. He forces his way out of Philadelphia. He goes to the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Seems to be an amazing put-together team. It doesn't work out. He gains about 100 pounds. He forces his way out of that situation. He then goes to the Los Angeles Clippers. They're the best team in the last 18 games. Forces his way out of this situation because of contract or, no one knows the real reasons why, but decides, you know what, the team's success, that's not my problem. I'm looking out for myself. Forces his way out of the Clippers. Who's to say it's going to be any different in Cleveland? Doesn't make sense.
No, not at all.
That's my rant. And I'm sticking with it. All right. This is fascinating, Dan. So I don't know if these are the exact teams, but I really hope the teams play hard because the world team is absolutely loaded with talent.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got Giannis. Don't think he'll play, but he's on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Advia. I can't believe Washington Wizards didn't know what they had with this guy. He is a Golden State Warriors killer, but I really like him. He just knocks down open shots. He's got a good mentality. Luka Doncic, SGA, my least favorite player to watch in the NBA. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Pascal Siakam, Kat, and Victor Wembanyama. That is ridiculous.
It's stacked.
So, and then Team USA team number 1. You got Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, my second least favorite player to watch in the NBA. Steph Curry, my favorite player to watch, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell, and the most undeserving player of the All-Star game this year, Norman Powell. How in the world does Norman Powell make it over? Like Bam Adebayo probably deserved it more than Norman Powell. I don't understand that one. So that's USA Team 1. USA Team 2, Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Anthony Edwards, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Johnson, and Tyrese Maxey. Dan, which of those three teams would you say is the best put together team?
Look, it's so hard to go past. Look, as an Aussie, every time I look at this, I go, Worlds. Give me the Worlds. Give me... And I think if they were, depending on the format that they played, like if we were talking in an Olympic game, I'd be taking that Worlds team. NBA rules, there's a lot of... This is a game where there's a bit of ego at stake, I think. There should be. Because if the NBA's boys get beaten, the US boys get beaten by a bunch of ship-ins from overseas, I think there's got to be some pride in this one. But look, I think I'd take Worlds.
Yeah, 100%. Who does Cat identify with?
Is he Congolese?
Where is Cat from?
Oh, Dominican.
Dominican? Okay.
Yeah, the Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Then the world international players, if you just look at the MVPs recently, we had SGA, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, who apparently is American now, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, we haven't had an American who was the last American MVP? That's what I wanted. Was it Steph Curry?
Was it Curry? Was it Harden?
True. It was James Harden or even Russell Westbrook, one of those two players, whoever had it last. But since then, like, I don't think the 2020s has had an American MVP, which is wild. So, yeah, I don't know what the format is. I don't know how they're playing. I could probably do some research into it, but I hope it works out. I hope they actually play hard, because the All-Star game has been a joke.
Oh yes, like this schoolyard system, like that's been the worst thing ever. And I've thought very little of many of the NBA's format moves and play-in tournaments and things like that for a while. I'm always behind a good cultural scrap though. When you get like they're playing for their region, they're playing for their families a little bit more. It's a little bit like your state of origin here in rugby league, that you're going to see a little bit more heart, I hope, than you do in the NBA and in the All-Star game, and a bit of defense, please.
Yeah. I think they're trying. What was really successful in the NHL was a tournament called Four Nations, and that was the four major nations. So I think it was Canada, US. I don't think Russia was in it because of the political climate. Maybe Sweden and Finland.
Yeah.
And that worked really well in place of an All-Star game. I think they did it for a week, sort of like State of Origin. So we'll see. I think you mentioned the play-in. I think the play-in tournament has been a huge success for the regular season. I really like it's sort of stopped tanking, and it's given more teams more of a reason to compete further into the regular season, because 10th seeds can still make a playoff spot.
I think I said play in. I'm in the NBA Cup.
Okay. Yeah, you're not in the NBA Cup.
Not into the NBA Cup. Play-in's fine. Play-in's worked. Yeah, no,
I'd be fine with the NBA Cup if they got rid of those courts. Anything that is going to enhance competitiveness in a professional league that's getting paid millions of dollars to compete, I'm all for.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm a Boston fan. I've never had to worry about some of those things, but...
Well, Dan, thank you for joining me on the Cochrane Show. This has been fun. We're going to have to do it again sometime. And go Seahawks.
Yeah.
22-25.
Nah, man. Drake May, MVP. MVP. MVP.
See you, Dan.
See ya.